trusted personality and dramatic critic Richard Zone, here to welcome you to this special screening of mini motion pictures cooked up by the fine folks down at Chasing Cow Productions. Hi, how you doing? Now, before we get started, I think I'd just like to say a few things about the nature of the sketches you'll be watching this evening. They're no mere entertainments. No, they're bold. They're political. They're groundbreaking. They're You know what, don't worry about it. Why don't you just kick back, open up that scotch you've been saving for just such an occasion, and let yourself be transported by the sweet dulcet tones of the establishment blues.
Hello, and welcome to Money's Basket Live, your radio consumer programme. Today, we're tackling the cost of living crisis and asking how the rising cost of bread is affecting your weekly shop. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I thought I'd get out into the world to get some thoughts from the front line. Oh, here, let's try this guy. Here, I think I'd get him.
Sir?
Hi!
Excuse me.
Hey, excuse us! Hi there, I'm from Money's Basket Live. Just wondering if we could ask you a few questions about how the rising cost of bread might be affecting your weekly shop.
How it is affecting the cost of my weekly shop?
That's right, yeah.
What, the rising cost of bread?
Yes.
How the rising cost of bread is affecting my weekly shop?
Yes.
Well, it costs more, you silly cunt.
Thank you. As you can see, most of our interviewees in Basingstoke, Winchester and East Hamworthy all agreed that the rising cost of bread was affecting their weekly shop by making it more expensive. This is Money's Basket Live.
Wow, Louis, wow. What can I say? 5-4, a cup derby, 2 goals for yourself, 1 in the 93rd minute. It's a fairy tale. Just talk us through the game.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. Obviously, as you say, they got the first goal, but then when we got the equaliser, we managed to score again, and then they scored. Then it was half time, but then I scored, but then they scored, and but then we scored, and then I scored, and then the full-time whistle blew.
Fantastic, such drama, and all against your former club. It must have been emotional for you. Just try and put into words how that all felt.
Yeah, obviously a lot of emotion. Obviously really gutting when they got that first goal. But then, then we got the equaliser, and then we scored again. And then after that, they scored. And then when it was half time, after that, then I scored. Then they scored. But then we scored again, and then I scored. Then the full-time whistle.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Louis. Thanks very much for your time.
It started with 1, then 2, then 3. Now 4 patients, and this hospital in Outer Reading is close to breaking point. But what is it? Is it airborne? Waterborne? If only it were that simple. The truth is, this condition is found lurking behind our computer screens and in our shopping carts. Scientists have dubbed it range anxiety, or RA2234542 for short. Take Linda, who after spending 2 months trying to work out which garden hose to buy, finally suffered a complete range anxiety breakdown last month.
Well, it all started in May when Tony said the old garden hose was broken, so I logged on to get a replacement. And there were so many, I mean, you wouldn't believe it. Every size and colour and style imaginable. I mean, they are clever, So I thought I'd just get the budget one, because the cost of living being what it is, but I thought I'd just have a quick look at the reviews, because, you want to get it right, don't you? Sending things back now, it's just such a faff. It's a good thing I did as well, because there are all these 1-star reviews. One of them said that it was worse than cancer, and that the manufacturer deserved to be slowly hung, drawn and quartered to the bloody growers of the vindicated proletariat. I mean, I didn't really know what that meant, but I knew it wasn't what I wanted from a garden hose. So I look at the more expensive one, and it just looks like it's more expensive for no reason. It looks the same, but I had a cone setting and a shower setting. But then I found this article, and it was saying that they test those hoses on animals. They line them all up in a row and soak them with all the different settings. And I asked Tony, he just said I was going batty. So then the article, it recommended this nice ethical one. Found out that it was made by the same company that makes the other two that I'd looked at. So then I was back to square one, spending 3 or 4 hours a day watching unboxing videos and cross-referencing sources and looking up companies, and all the while my garden was just getting drier and drier.
Linda, just popping the kettle on. Do you want a tea or a coffee? Oh gosh, sorry Linda. I'll get you a nice cup of tea.
Go on, Linda. It's all right.
Sorry. Yeah. So after a while, I couldn't make a decision about anything.
Nothing?
No, nothing. I mean, ask me cheese or ham, I'd just start up on those reviews again.
And it's gotten better since being admitted?
Yeah, being here helps. Yeah.
And why is that?
Well, there's no choices. I mean, it was lights out and good morning at the same time every day, and the meals are all set, which is nice, and they don't let me have my smartphone, which is the main thing. I mean, it's just lovely, Rachel. I feel like I can finally think again.
Linda's case was typical. What had started as being a mindful consumer had spiralled, leading to a complete breakdown of the decision-making faculty. But what was the way out? I spoke to Andre from the Society of Consumers and Markets on what he made of this novel condition.
Well, partly it's an educational thing. Linda in your report there was saying that she thought both the luxury and the budget models of her hose were exactly the same, whereas really if she'd done her research, as I have, she would have realised that the pressure release valve in the luxury model has a far more appealing heraldry, and that really could have influenced her final decision, I feel.
So, what would you prescribe to these range anxiety sufferers? I mean, it's not just Linda. I've spoken to many patients here. One man was just looking for a USB cable, but when presented with 5 different price tiers, he went into a catatonic state.
Well, obviously there's an issue here, Rachel. I'm not denying that, am I? I'm just saying that, the issue isn't less choice. What we need is a bit more choice, actually. I think people say we need less. Frankly, it's a bit dangerous, actually.
So we need more choice.
More consumer choice and better brand differentiation.
What would you say to the criticism that people don't want to spend their limited time on Earth trawling through marginally different products?
Well, look, I just have to disagree with you on principle there, Rachel. Indeed, I've got a family, I've got a boy, 2 girls, a dog, a cat, a ping pong table and a wife, and there's nothing brings us together quite like all curling up round the sofa on a Saturday night with our devices and looking at all the different products we hope to buy one day. That's where we've got to get these poor range anxiety sufferers back to, and it's why I completely endorse the latest government proposals.
Outsourcing the catering to various different food companies.
That's right, giving the catering contracts to a variety of competing convenience food chains. That way, the sufferers won't be able to hide away in places like this anymore. We're giving them back their freedom, and we're proud to be doing so.
Hi, Linda. How are you doing?
Oh, good, thanks, yeah. Oh, I do love Thursdays, shepherd's pie. Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, there's been a bit of a change. You've got it all now. Pluckies, jumby fish and chips, beef tub, techno-vegans. It's all up to you. Isn't that great? Well, all you've got to do is download the app and you can start browsing. Linda? Linda?
Well, you made it. The intermission. Not bad. Some of you folks have been kind enough to write in with a few of your thoughts about how the show is going so far, and I think I'd like to share a few of those thoughts back with you, if you don't mind. Sheila, from Portland, says, "What in the name of holy crap was that? What a pathetic use of the planet's finite resources." And Henry, from Leicester, asks, "If this is meant to be a comedy, why aren't I laughing?" one more here. I think it's about time we got on with the show then, folks. Just got a few more little sketches lined up for you, and I think you're really going to love a few of them, maybe even all of them. See you after the show.
And now, we join Hilary Stevenson and this week's castaway, Clarence Lee, in the latest instalment of Desert Island Crisps.
Hello, and welcome to the show where egos are slowly rubbed to their throbbing, tumescent bursting point, as public figures mythologize their lives through the fried potato snacks that have been with them on this journey. Today I'm joined by entrepreneur, philanthropist and Renaissance man Clarence Lee, OBE.
Pleasure to be here, Hilary.
So, to get stuck in, your early life wasn't exactly easy, was it?
Yeah, no, not exactly, no.
Your family couldn't afford Eton and instead had to send you to Windsor, is that right?
Yeah, couldn't afford, / didn't have the connections. It's not right at all.
Well, nonetheless, I believe your first Desert Island Crisp comes from these difficult school days.
Yes, indeed. Well, I hope you won't be too upset with me, Hilary. But my first one isn't technically a crisp, but a cheese straw.
I'll let you off, Clarence, if you tell us a bit more.
Well, it's not much of a story. But sometimes at school, our stingy housemaster would, with our aperitifs, give us these Gouda cheese straws. You know, they weren't brilliant, but now looking back, I do have a certain fondness for them.
Well, I think we better hear you eat one, don't you?
Lovely.
So you pressed on through that early hardship and eventually won yourself a place at Oxford University and on to Harvard where you did your MBA.
Yeah, I suppose I did, yeah.
And after graduating, that was when you sailed around the world for your charity. Tell us about the work your charity does.
Yeah, so basically it's a tech platform where children are given the unique chance to try and fund their families and themselves out of starvation.
Wow, that sounds really empowering.
Yeah, it really is, yeah.
So how does it work?
Well, basically, the children upload videos of themselves showing their living conditions. You know, oh, there's nothing in the fridge, or oh, there's no heating this week, or maybe there's an elderly family member that's quietly deteriorating in the corner. And then we broadcast this online, and members of the public can pledge money to help the child. But it's an all or nothing system, so only the child that's received the most pledges gets to keep their funding.
And those who don't?
Well, they roll over to the next round. Though unfortunately a lot of them don't make it because
Yes.
they starve.
Of course.
But you know, you do what you can. Like some of the neediest, I even invite them to my home in Surrey.
Oh, and you let them stay?
No. But we let them look at it, you know, go on the lawn or maybe in the rumpus room.
That's so lovely.
Yeah, I like to think that the experience of seeing my home will help inspire them to make better videos, because sometimes they just don't put the effort in. And no one wants to see poorly put together content with, I don't know, out-of-sync dialogue or, God forbid, poor music choices.
No, absolutely not. Well, I think this leads on to your second Desert Island Crisp. So, what have you got there?
Well, yes, these are jumbo cheesy cheese puffs. And they're often a favourite among our platform's users. I mean, I never really go near them myself, but I know they love them. Sadly, though, they're often a bit out of their price range.
Oh dear. Well, I'm sure they'd want you to enjoy a couple on their behalf.
I'm sure they would. Not bad.
Yummy. So, after the success with your charity, you then launched 3 more charities, received an OBE from Her Late Majesty for services to yourself. Now, what's next for Clarence Lee?
Well, Hilary, to be quite honest, I'm just looking forward to spending a bit of time on me. Like, the work I do is fantastic, I know that, but it does take it out of you, emotionally speaking.
I think we can all sympathise with the need to give ourselves a break. And indeed, it's that idea that informs your final Desert Island Crisp. Is that right?
Yes, I'm afraid it's all going to seem rather indulgent, Hilary.
Not at all.
Okay. Well, my final crisp, are these smoked black truffle crisps. And the story behind them is simply that last year I had this wonderful experience. I was on the balcony of my villa in the Riviera, and I had a gorgeous glass of rosé in my hand, and a case of these fantastic crisps. And as I was looking out over the coast, I was just overwhelmed with this sensation of, not just of gratitude, but the sense that I really deserved to be there.
Wow. Well, this studio isn't quite the Riviera, but we do have some rosé and these lovely truffle crisps. So, here's to you, Clarence.
Thank you.
And to all the children you've helped.
Yes, to them too. But mostly to me.
Of course. Cheers, Clarence, and thank you so much for sharing your desert island crisps with us today.
It's been a pleasure, Hilary.